We are PXP, and we are at the core a global orchestration commerce platform. And what we do is that for various sectors in the industry, like gambling is a big sector for us, regulated gambling, and retail, hospitality, ticketing, cruise ships, we offer our services. And if you ask me what we want to achieve, we have a long history in the gambling sector. We are supporting big names in the industry for various jurisdictions: US, Europe, UK, Latin America, Canada, and South Africa. And we are interacting, and obviously we want to learn from the market what's happening and interact with our existing customers and hopefully new customers to come. It's a very, very, very interesting and exciting market. I remember when we entered the US back in 2012, and it was New Jersey, the first state, and then there was nothing. And then 2017, 18, the states started to come up, and then there was a hype, and US actually then exploded under regulated gambling, and all 35 states got regulated. I see the same thing happening in Latin America with regulation. We saw Brazil did the first regulatory framework, and it has been a very intense time for us because we were actually then providing the services for the market, and I see more and more countries getting more regulated in that area, and there is a very good dynamic in the Latin America. Our role as a PXP is to support with, I call it invisible payment, try to be as disruptive in the process of the flow of the payment in the games and interaction, and provide a good service to the gaming operators. I think more and more states got regulated, and we saw that the big players are really well established. I think from the regulatory perspective, it's well defined. It has got its rhythms. I think the area of what do you call it? The sports betting, casino, and poker. That's something that is well established. I think the games, right? It's something that I can see. The iGaming and games that's going to come. And for me, independent of all these things, are also the whole thing around AI and the blockchain is very close to our hearts, right? And I see that AI will have a more and more prominent roles in the way that the industry is actually not only US, right? Across all the different jurisdictions that's going to influence the way that we are actually then defining the games, interacting with the customers, the way that we actually do the processes, and that's going to be a prominent role. And I think blockchain and digital asset is something that's going to be part of our life, right? And going forward, and that's going to have a sort of a effect on it. Yeah, I think it's very much to do with the regulator, right? So it's very important to work very closely with the regulator, understand the regulatory frameworks, what is accepted and what's not accepted. But what we see this with the stable coins, pretty much, yeah. It's if you look at the Europe, for example, we getting the very good regulatory framework in Europe with the name of MiCA. And it's there, and it's defining it, right? So the regulators get more comfortable, the gaming regulators, as And the more comfortable and the more frameworks are there and the more regulation is there, so that can actually be integrated. It's already happening with the gaming and the gambling sector, but that's basically, you've got the fiat world and you've got the digital asset world, right? And people are interacting between these two worlds already. It's an amazing time to be part of this journey and see the interaction. It's going to be almost transparent, the way that the fiat and the stable coins and digital assets are just, crypto is changing, because a lot of people have got now assets on blockchains, right? So they want to use these assets somehow, right? And then they could actually buy a digital good or a service, and gambling is also nothing more than a service, right? And as long as the KYC and AML regulatory frameworks are there and everything is going with the right approach, then that's fine. It should not actually also take away from the responsible gaming, right? So that should be also still part of the overarching framework. We are a strong believer of that, right? And support it wherever we can with our processes. We are in this sector since 2000, I don't know, 1, 2, we started with that, right? And then we saw all the different maturity levels of this. It was, first of all, not illegal, it was illegal, right? So it was no defined regulatory framework. And we saw that the .com became the domestic regulatory frameworks in Italy, France, in Germany, in UK, in Austria. So all those different European jurisdictions we followed up, and we saw how the regulatory framework established itself. It puts a lot of overhead and burden on the gaming operators to fulfill that, but it's also a good thing, because then it actually moves out the black ships and taking them out of the sector. And this is going across global, right? It's not only Latin America, US and Europe that got regulated. You see it in Nigeria and in Africa, and also in the Asia Pacifics. You see that more. I think that's the next natural step, right? So they're starting somewhere very, 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 very safe and defined, but they are very open to the technology, to the progress, right? And I think sooner or later there will be a sort of a framework around that and a definition. So I think that's the direction. We are closely monitoring it and interacting, but we have not entered that market yet. Right? It's in our roadmap. The moment we see an opportunity that the regulatory framework is allowed, we will enter. And our principal approach is very much to work on a regulated markets and provide our services. So I thought from the market expansion, from our perspective, we believe in APAC's area, so we want to actually expand there, right? I think we see, for example, New Zealand is getting regulated. That's an area that we would love to participate. It's 2026, I guess, right? Australia is already regulated. We would like to also participate in that market. We are looking at the different markets like Philippines, right, and Japan, right? So, but because not only from the perspective of the gambling, and it's also retail and hospitality. We have got big retail customers that they have got services, they have got operations in those markets, and we want to follow also our biggest customers in those markets. So there are few big areas in APAC and exciting, and they are also very much advanced with mobile technology and mobile payments and approaches there. And we will actually provide in our plan for 5 countries in APAC in 2025. We have got ambitious plans.